are simple. Once you go in, you don't come out.
Hello everyone! In this video today, I will tell you what are my 10 reasons why I'm leaving New York City for good. The city I always dreamed of living, where I had the opportunity to live here, to become a New Yorker. The first reason why I'm leaving New York City is because of this rat race culture, that wanting to make it and hustling and working hard and just do anything you can to get where you want to be professionally. Imagine rats racing. So they're going, but they're not going actually anywhere. I've been doing that for 16 years. Living in New York with this rat race, it's something that I actually have been looking forward to experience. I grew up watching movies about New York City. It's interesting how I felt I was in a movie many times when I worked long hours, 12-hour shift, 16-hour shift. I did waitressing jobs. I've been doing all sorts of things on the side to support myself. I did work for free when I was establishing myself in my field. I built a career, I worked hard, and this is really something that has paid off. All this sacrifice. I just enjoyed it so much. However, it's not sustainable anymore. Corporate culture also in New York City, and I think this is more generic to America, it's a whole different beast. It's hard to grasp all the dynamics. So I've been experiencing both that and being a freelancer. And, of course, as a freelancer, as an independent contractor, it's true though New York City gives you a lot of opportunities, but it's also true that there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of dynamics you don't really see all the time. So yeah, the rat race culture, it's something that doesn't leave you too much time to be creative, too much time to recharge. In many fields at the moment in New York, there are limited opportunities for career advancement. Even the opportunities to be in a company and move up in that organization have become much more limited. Second reason why I'm leaving New York City is because I'm personally struggling to have a work-life balance. How many times I've been working the holidays, the weekend, during Christmas time sometimes. For millennials, it's not the same as has been for previous generations, unfortunately. It's not that we're so spoiled and we don't want to work and this and that. Clearly, there's been a design to kind of make the job landscape much more unstable. It's nice that we're able to have this mindset and to reinvent ourselves, to kind of leverage all the tools that we have and the fact that we traveled more than our parents. But then at the same time, it is not really easy to achieve that wonderful middle ground that was that life balance that people had in the 50s and the 60s, where Western societies were at the optimum level, I guess, in that sense. Being New York City, a very high pressure environment, this work-life balance, again, it's just not something easily achievable. It's not just you in New York City that's working really hard. It's also your friends. Everybody's like hustling. Everybody's trying to make it. Everybody's doing long hours. So unless you live in the same neighborhood or your friends, you don't see each other as often. I have friends that are chronically sleep deprived, that they live in a small studio and that they're not able also to enjoy life and even the ones that have very good job, corporate job, they're all in this phase very concerned about, when is it going to be that I'm going to get fired? When is it going to be that they're going to downsize again? It's a very unsettling time. So living in a place like New York City, it's becoming challenging. Talking about work-life balance, I've had days where I have been so tired from work, and even when I wanted to really talk to a friend and pick up the phone, I just did not have the energy to speak. Let me know if you relate to this. Even if you don't live in New York City or anywhere in the world, just let me know. Did you have that feeling, that being so exhausted that at night you cannot even pick up the phone to call a friend? Third reason why I'm leaving New York City, it's because of inflation and increasingly cost of life. Now, granted, my situation, there's also like a contraction in my job market. So if you associate that with the inflation, with the just even food shopping and just paying for health insurance. How do I justify living in New York City? Yesterday I went out with my friends. A cocktail was $13, which is great because $13 in New York, it's like 2012 prices. But it was happy hour. I'm not saying that you have to go out every night and get wasted, but just the idea that the average cocktail now it's $20 plus tip. What about going out to dinner? And what about catching a show? I mean, the beauty of living in New York City, it is also that you can catch a movie, catch a theater, catch an off Broadway and a comedy show. I love that. I mean, this is literally why I love this city. But if everything has to be so prohibitive and you have to watch at every dollar, and I'm talking from, I'm a middle class person, and some people would say, no, you're poor, right? Because now you feel poor as middle class. It didn't used to be like this. I mean, even 16 years ago, I immigrated here with nothing. So I was always very paying attention and saving money and like not spend too much. But then there's been also that level where I really enjoyed life in New York City. I really was able to go to a show, to gift a ticket to a friend, to do all these beautiful things, right? But when you feel like you cannot afford all this anymore, guys, it ain't worth it.
Can you tell me how much the bus is?
$1.50.
Really? Wow. Last time I took the bus, it was like 75 cents. You know, for $3 more you could take a cab.
This is still third point, increasing cost of life. Rent is one of the biggest expenses people have, and the rent in New York City, it's insanely high. Like the median prices in New York right now for rent, it's for an apartment, a small apartment, it's $4,000 a month. That means you're gonna have to make at the very least 15, 10. We millennials, we want to save money, but you're not gonna be able to save money in New York City.
I'm sorry, Miss Bradshaw, but you are not a desirable candidate for a loan.
One of these only in New York type of thing is the mansion tax. What's the mansion tax? Is a real estate transfer tax applied to residential property purchase of 1 million or more. How does it work? When you go to a closing for your house, lucky you, you're buying a house in New York. Let's say you're buying an apartment that it's 1.5 million. You're paying $15,000 as the mansion tax. This is the picture of what $1 million buys you in New York City, and it's not a mansion. I love the show Sex and the City. I'm sure you've seen Sex and the City, you've heard about it. Carrie Bradshaw is the main character, right? And Carrie was living in a rent-stabilized apartment. And I was living in a rent-stabilized apartment. This is one of the reasons why I was able to afford living here. Also because my rent was stabilized. It was never really cheap, but it was not going up. The fourth reason why I will be leaving the wonderful Big Apple is this changing of social dynamics. I'll give you an example. I lived in Brooklyn Heights, one of the best neighbors in the city. It's almost got this little town feeling, but also it's very historical, it's very old school New York. And one thing I really loved about that neighbor is that there's a very diverse community of people, very elderly people, younger people, family, all sorts of people. A lot of also actors live there. That neighbor has completely changed lately. It's changed because after the pandemic, the rent went so high that mostly wealthy people can afford to live there. It happened in the past for like Soho and for Williamsburg. All these cool neighbors were like regular people like me, artsy, hardworking people were able to live. Now they can't. The fifth reason why I'm leaving New York City is because there's a very slow wage growth. This is manifesting as a lot of disparity between, middle class and higher upper class. I'm not even going to the lower class. In my field, I almost feel like there's been a decrease in wage. There's been an increased competition, increase sending job to India, sending job to other countries. This also ties with the previous reason, right? The high amount of tax in New York City. In New York City, you get taxed at a federal level, state level, but also to a city level. And of course, if you're not making enough money, you have to pay also more taxes. Personally, since I've been working remotely for many years now, even before the pandemic, I feel like there's no reason for me to stay in a place where it's becoming harder and harder to sustain myself. The sixth reason why I'm leaving New York City is because there's been an economic downturn. A lot of people are working from home. A lot of companies have left the corporate offices, and the city, it's not the city that was before. I'm not saying that things should go back to the way they were in the 80s. You know, there's definitely pros and cons of remote work versus staying in the office. I like the idea of going to the office 3 days a week or 2 days a week, and even like being completely remote. But unfortunately, that has changed the landscape of the city. I mean, of course, if everybody will want to go and take a step back in terms of rent price and maybe the middle class would stay. If instead of keep creating stupid taxes, like now the congestion tax they put for people that take the tunnel from New Jersey, like that's gonna save the world, like that's gonna save the environment. And honestly, this is not even just the middle class people problem, and especially people that make a ton of money. Imagine how much tax they can save if they move to a place where they don't have to pay city taxes or even, New York State taxes, which are really, really high. Okay, this is a very personal reason why I'm leaving New York City. People obsessing over their phone and walking and not paying attention. I know it's a worldwide problem, but really doesn't go well with the identity of the city. People are really walking slow these days in New York City. They slow you down. I became a bit of a New Yorker because I don't want to be slowed down. I just want to get going at my pace. I like that. You see all the zombies with the phone, and it's really not a good look. The eighth reason why I'm leaving New York City is because of the noise. I know you're gonna say, oh, you're a small town girl, now you're complaining about the noise. No. Yeah, I definitely became more sensitive about the noise. Initially, it's true that I was so excited that I enjoyed that. Like, you can make me hear sounds of city traffic, and I know exactly, in the blink of an eye, I can tell you that's how the city sounds. But the too much honking, people yelling, there's certain subway stations where the sounds are so bad. There's just the train arriving. I don't know what happened if they don't put oil on the tracks on the train, but it's just too much to handle. One of the things that makes you stress out without realizing it is the ear impact. The constant noise stresses you out. The ninth reason why I'm leaving New York City for good is the bad smell. Bad smells are everywhere in New York City. You might catch a break in the winter, and if you walk outside in the summer, it's just something you can't escape. And it's also not just the garbage, the huge amount of garbage that is taller than me when I walk on the streets, and the amount of people pissing on the street, and the pollution. The pollution, it's insane. I don't know if you guys ever had that feeling, if you're a New Yorker and you're in a subway at night waiting for the train, and there are those trains that pass by that they carry materials and things, and they pollute so much.
How hard it was to exist in a society desensitized by drugs, loud music, television, crime, garbage. Too angry. I don't want to be angry.
Another reason why I'm gonna be leaving New York City is for safety concerns. I know New York City has never been known as a safe city, but I've seen a decline in years. Perhaps when I moved here, being younger, being excited about the city, I didn't really see all the risks. I also believed for the longest time that the New York City subway had metal detectors in the turnstile, because for me it was a no-brainer. And then somebody told me a man got shot on Borough Station. I'm like, what? That's my subway stop. And I realized, no, there's no metal detectors. Being from Italy, being raised in a certain way, I used to really make a lot of eye contact. Naturally, I had to stop. I have changed. I mean, this city has changed. I mean, this is a topic for another video. Let me know if you want me to make it. But yeah, I've changed. I started being more conscious of eye contact. I mean, of course, I've always been very safe, very street smart. Thank you, New York. It makes you street smart. But there's a different level of unsafety right now, and especially after COVID and all the implications, which are increasing homeless people, increasing the bail reform, unfortunately, and other social dynamics that derived from that historical time. The city doesn't feel safe to me anymore. I was at a dinner with friends Sunday night, Upper West Side. In the past, you would take the train at 8, 9 p.m. even. It was 7:30 p.m. Everybody was like, no, just take a cab. And again, like, if you cannot feel safe at evening time, right? I can't enjoy the city anymore. There's also another aspect, that it's the amount of mentally healed people that need care and need help. They don't get it. They just stay in the subway, and they need it because they need somewhere to stay warm. I understand. It is emotionally draining to have to see this huge amount of people that are in need of help, and they're dangerous for themselves and for others. I remember when my friend, she came visit with her boyfriend, and I was like, so how's the city? Are you enjoying it? And she said, I feel bad that I see all these people on the street. I want to help them. I wish I could help them. And I was like, this is New York City. You can't do that. You have to be tough. That's what I told her. I'm this cynical New Yorker, right? But it became harder and harder for me as well. And the feeling like, what do I do? It's not a good look, and a lot of New Yorkers are feeling like this. People are starting to talk more and more about it. On this note, I really hope there's gonna be a solution for regular people that want to just enjoy the city and live their life, to not having to be exposed to all this sufferance, but also for the institution, for the government, for the state, for who's in charge, to really find a way to help people, to put them in situations where they can thrive. I'm not sure that's what's been done so far. It's really working. Maybe it's just enabling more pain and more addiction and more of this dysfunction to proliferate. I hope this video will not trigger you. I hope you understand I love New York. I was adopted from New York. This place will always be home for me. The song says, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. Do I feel like a loser by living in New York City? Because there's that association. So you're leaving, so you're quitting. The truth is that I don't feel like a loser. I feel like I made it in New York. I was able to come here with nothing, make friends, make a life, make a career, and also integrate in this society. I work with wonderful people, wonderful artists. I've really been blessed. So I think that, yeah, this makes me a success story of the city. But I also believe in life, you need to know when it's time to change direction. And as much as it's scary, it's also something that I look forward to. And I'll always be back. I always will love New York.
New York was his town, and it always would be.
But because I love this city so much, I also cannot see the way it has become. And for me, living an extra virgin lifestyle, a life of authenticity, a life of work-life balance, it doesn't cut it anymore. In order to stay true to myself, I have to live.
After all, seasons change. So do cities. People come into your life and people go. But it's comforting to know the ones you love are always in your heart. And if you're very lucky, a plane ride away.
If you listen so far, I'm really happy. I really appreciate if you would comment and if you let me know what are your thoughts. If you want me to make other videos that talk about my journey as an Italian woman coming into the US, working here, and now living. Thank you so much for watching, and see you to the next.